We were described as the worst England touring side in the history of any sport.
I've never played that drunk before.
As the only unbeaten team in this World Cup,
Hello.
we've got 6 days to literally go at every Welsh fan you know, every Irish fan, every Scottish fan, get after them.
Yeah.
Because when they beat you, they let you know.
I think it's very disrespectful to this England side not to give them a chance. I think there are some unbelievable players, some fantastic coaches, some guys who work very hard, and actually we're now in a semi-final. What's gone before is irrelevant.
It's knockout rugby. It's the only time you can believe, because you have to. There's only one game, so it only takes 80 minutes.
Hello, Dream Team. Welcome along to this week's episode of The Good, The Bad and The Rugby, brought to you by our very good friends at Continental Tyres. The quarterfinals are done and dusted. It has been remarkable. Legends have fallen, heroes have risen, legacies have ended. It's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears, high emotions all around. And that's just amongst the GBR team. What a quartet of matches. Everything we wanted, hoped for, and a whole lot more.
It's mad because there was so much anticipation, so much excitement, so much history that could have been written, and it's sort of wheels have come off on 2 of the fairy tale stories.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that we have all 4 home nations and Northern Hemisphere. Oh,
No.
we didn't.
Everything we wanted, but didn't quite get.
No,
We've just got the one faithful, always there till the end.
The only unbeaten team in the tournament
that's
are England.
mental.
Coming in on a flat tyre, bashed up on
Yeah.
bonnet.
No one likes
They're
them.
at the top
Everyone
of the
hates
start
them.
line. I know.
The number one player is the most
Literally.
hated player in rugby, world rugby. Everyone boos everyone. No one can get on board. We're not going to make out the pool stages. Everyone needs to be fired. England needs to be blown up. RFU needs to be shut down. And next we're in the semi-final. It's madness. And I felt really sad about kind of the Ireland thing, just because of obviously Johnny Sexton retiring, but just how close they could have come to it, and that we all thought they were going to do it. But I mean, they had the hardest kind of side of the draw. We understand that. And then with France,
And all history will show is they still can't get out of a quarter-final.
I know, which is so bad. And then he's obviously then France. You know, I thought that this is their year. They're going to do it. It's in France. Everyone's super excited. Now they're out.
I'm still semi-angry about that, by the way.
There was an amazing line of commentary. We were watching on French TV, and at the end, the commentators just
C'est
screamed,
terminé.
"C'est terminé, c'est terminé, c'est terrible," which I just sort of, it just summed it up, really.
Yeah, well, I wonder what they're going to put on the keep. You know, like
Yeah.
the fire everyone, sack everyone, French Revolution, or whatever. I don't know what's going on. But I think I've loved it. I think it's been a really kind of nice shop window for rugby and promoting it and doing everything else, because the games have been fantastic. They've been nail biting. But now we're on to the business, and it sort of looks like business as usual.
Yeah.
South Africa, New Zealand, Argentina, England.
We're going to get into all of that. It's worth just mentioning, if you are watching on our YouTube channel, these are the stunning scenes of Marseille behind us. We're into our last few hours after an epic 6 weeks down here, and then we're off to Paris. But we are at the Sofitel Marseille Vieux-Port, which is part of the Accor Live Limitless, and they've been working with the teams, the officials and the fans, including their own loyalty members, hosting them at hotels across the country throughout the Rugby World Cup, and thank you to them for having us today. What we're going to do is have a quick reflection on the 4 quarterfinals, and then I really want to get into how do Argentina beat the All Blacks, and how on earth did England stop this Bok juggernaut. Shall we start, first of all, with the game that we went to yesterday, which was England against Fiji? I mean, it was very comfortable at parts, and it was utterly terrifying in others. It was chaotic, frenetic, but how impressive for England to get themselves into a hole and then get themselves out of it again.
I mean, that's been the story of all the quarterfinals, was a team gets ahead, and normally in quarterfinals you get ahead, you just shut the game down, and it becomes easy. But every team came back, and Fiji were no different. I think, if I'm honest, in that first 20 minutes of the second half, England stopped playing, stopped actually enjoying having the ball, and just went back to a real basic, trying to play territory, trying to just put the ball in the right areas of the field. And then, as we know with Fiji, with the incredible athletes that they have, a couple of snapshots, 2 offloads, and bang, they're underneath the sticks. And then England had to come out and playing. And when they did, they went straight back down the other end, got the drop goal, then got the penalty. And you just sort of wish they'd have the strength of character to just keep playing.
I did think, to be honest with you, that when in the first kind of 10 minutes, I looked at England, I was like, wow, actually, they're trying to play some rugby. Beautiful, fast. Alex Mitchell's whizzing the ball to Owen. They're playing the line. They're playing smart. They're playing wide. They've got runners all over the place. I thought they looked really good. I was quite enjoying it. And then actually there was that tipping point where Courtney got hit. Well, Maro got hit.
Yep.
and to driven back, and then Big C got hit and bundled into touch.
Not happy about
and that
it.
kind of was the turning point because things have been quite evenly matched. And then Big Courts just went turbo mode, didn't he?
It was physical. Like I think England rocked up first, and they put in some big shots too.
Yeah,
and then,
that first hit on Bottier.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And then Fiji came back and did their own. And look, what we asked the question was could Fiji raise their emotional level again to get back to the highs, and they did. And it really did need them coming back level to really kickstart the game, and then the game was brilliant.
I tell you, we watched it with the Matavesi brothers. We watched it with Nicky Robinson, Jamie Roberts, Zeb was there,
Nico Matawalu.
I've never laughed that much during a rugby game.
Yeah.
It was so much fun because obviously, and Ryan Wilson, the most English Scottish man that's ever lived,
dressed head to toe in Fijian gear.
Every time anything went on, they were cheering. It was kind of quite nice because I started cheering for Fiji for a bit. Then we're cheering back to England, and then there's obviously some great footage of us turning around, getting slightly exuberant when we started winning.
Got to celebrate the wins when they come. It hasn't been a lot to celebrate. Over the
my
last
favourite
18
bit was the
months.
cliche because every time we were
Cliche
there,
club.
cliche club, we would like sort of mimicking what was going on in the field. Gather round, lads, come in, quick, hot debrief, breathe. Owen, next job. It was just fucking, just love it. And also, it's great to see the Matavesi brothers, obviously, after sadly losing their father.
Yeah.
It was great to spend some time with them. So, look,
It was great to see you try and pick one up.
Oh, my God.
The weight of the sun.
Yeah,
Big Josh.
it was. Yeah, he's got his own gravitational pull. He's 132 kgs, or so he says.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a bit heavier than that. No, but I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And actually, for me, the vibe afterwards, I mean, you all right? Because you got a little bit assaulted afterwards, didn't you? You got groped a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all
You
part
got,
of
it's like being back at boarding school, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's like being back in choir practice again.
Fools.
I got a bit of heat to take my shirt off, but I just thought the whole day was a really, really fun experience.
I went above and beyond, so I made sure one of us stayed out to get the atmosphere of how they were feeling about it. So I was with them till 5 a.m.
The Fijians were out last night. weren't you?
Yeah, they were all in good form.
Doing your bit for relations.
A couple were really disappointed, but
That's why you sound like you've been gargling gravel, by the way, for those listening.
sorry
Wonder why
about
Tin sounds like he's got no throat. It's because he's destroying
I
himself.
caught it off.
Coming back to England, though, sorry to return it to rugby. I know that's sort of not really what we do, but what was better? If Samoa's the low point, what was better about the performance?
So firstly, I think the desire to attack and respect the ball. I think they kicked it less in attacking areas. There was that kind of, they did do a little chip through that actually ran dead or they tackled over the try line or whatever, and it kind of, that was helpful. There was a couple of aimless ones, but I thought they looked much more comfortable.
So putting a 10 at 10 and two centres as opposed to two 10s in the centre.
Completely different. Snapshot.
I'm asking the question.
No, it was.
You can take it where you want.
I think
what we said last week on the pod, it's about intent and how you want to play the game. The players that we've got are good. We know that. We know Owen Farrell's good. People just need to remember he's got over 100 caps, and he's a great player and he's a great servant for English rugby. But if you don't play the right way, you don't have a chance. And yesterday, they still kicked it 30 times yesterday, but it was mainly done in the right way of either exiting their half, kick to compete, and it wasn't done in the opposition 22 that often. They did a couple of crossfield kicks, and as you say, a couple that they tried to put through, but they actually went out with an intent to play. I thought Ben Earl was outstanding again. I think he's been the best player that
he's definitely been the player of the tournament, 100% so far.
And I thought Mitchell was allowed to do what Mitchell does more. I thought Ellis in the first half was super. He just wanted the ball, and was angry, and he carried well.
Set piece was strong.
I think the only place we lacked was probably our scrum didn't quite go as we wanted it, but we got the job done, and we roll on, and who knows? I felt
a bit sorry for George for it didn't get on in the end, which but I think obviously it become quite a close game, but someone like him with his game management could have added something. I do definitely think, having played with those two centres, the way Manu was playing, I thought March and the way they play is actually offers a lot more dynamism, and I kind of quite like that. I don't think, look, we know their win percentage went up to like 63% or 70% with Ford Farrell. They're both great players. I think the idea is you'd have split attack. I don't think it works that well. I think it actually looked better with Mark, is it?
I did, yeah. I mean, I noticed that straight away, that the first two phases they set up a split field, and Marcus was 10 on one side, Faz was 10 on the other. Not to say that I called that last week.
You did.
Do you see the photo at the end of Marcus?
Yeah.
So Marcus, week in, week out, is at 10. The hair looks on point. He comes off with a couple of beads of perspiration. Yesterday, one game at 15, head split open, lip bust, teeth falling out, blood top to bottom.
But a lot of people questioned. They were like, "Oh yeah, but he won't make those one-on-ones." repeatedly,
Yeah.
over and
Not
over
for lack
again,
of effort.
never got out of the way.
No. Yeah. So even Seven Red
And you're talking
Rhino.
about massive
Yeah.
lads who bump people for a living.
Yeah.
And every time he only got bumped. He got bumped once. I
We were
think.
coming out the cliches with him after he caught that first high ball, absolutely unchallenged,
Yeah.
great under the high ball,
Safe as
steady,
houses.
just what we needed.
The Rock.
Yeah, that's why he's in the team.
I tell you what, if we're going to sort of finish up just on the England performance, we're going to throw in our High Flyer of the Week segment, which is brought to you by our good friends at British Airways, where we pick the English person of the weekend, and you're going to go with a bit of deliberation, chucked in a couple of
would say,
contenders.
There's a few out there, obviously. I think Faz got man of the match.
Yeah.
Not sure I'd have gone there. Tom Curry made a bucket load of tackles. He was flying around like an excess missile.
He's not dulled his fires, having had the red
I was
card,
going to say, lucky he missed a couple of times because I think people would have evaporated. I thought Courtney did all right. I say Mitchell did all right. Everyone played their role yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I thought Benno was.
Yeah, I'd give it to Ben Earl. I just think that dynamism, that run that he's carrying, he just
I
has
got
a whole.
so many
That
messages.
engine at
I
the
got
end.
so many messages when he made that line break, going, "Oh my God, how fast is
Yeah,
that
he's
guy?"
quick, isn't he?
He's fast, yeah.
Yeah.
Well done, Ben Earl. 11 carries, 99 metres, the most of anyone on the pitch, actually, from an 8. That's unbelievable. Second most tackles of anyone with 14.
The amount of defenders.
7
he beats.
defenders beaten.
Yeah, the amount of
Matched
defenders.
the
he
game high
beats.
with Semi Randrandra.
Only beaten by Semi
That's
Randrandra.
unreal.
That's not bad for a back row, isn't it?
No,
Big courts in there
I've
as
never
well.
had stats like that.
Well done, Ben Earl, who is our High Flyer of the Week. And thank you again to British Airways, who've brought original people, places and cultures closer together for more than 100 years. And talking of original people, Johnny Sexton, and cultures that have loved their rugby to Ireland, I don't quite know what the question is, other than it's just heart. Remember, we had tears amongst the team of our Irish members.
That's the only reason I knew that. I obviously seen the result, but I didn't think there was really a problem. It was only when Dara, our head of commercial, started crying over the DJ deck, so I was DJing and making all the buttons stop working. So could you take your, I was like, yeah, the game's bar, they've lost, never mind. Could you move out of the way, please?
Yeah. It's just a nation that has had its party cut short.
I had to take a pause of not going straight back to all the Irish people who've messaged you in the last 6 months about how good we are. We're going to win the World Cup. I did go and check in on Jamie just to make sure he was all right.
Jamie Dornan, when he
Jamie
cried
Dornan's
when they were
latest
winning.
news.
Imagine what his house was like with that, whinging, whimpering.
Jimmy Nesbitt sent me a message going, I'm a little bit discombobulated walking around Paris, just seeing a lot of Irishmen crying.
Yeah.
I'm gutted for them as a team.
Can they argue about the result? Well, the All Blacks, the better team.
Did we curse them?
Well,
Because every team shirt we wore, we wore Irish shirts and they lost. We wore Welsh shirts, they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't wear.
I did get a message on social media going, "Please stop fucking wearing a shirt."
I know.
Or can you
The
now
one and
put?
only-
Actually,
we
need- we need all black
one of
and
them just
Springbok
went, Now
shirts
can you
this
put an
weekend."
England shirt on, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only time we've ever done that and they lose. I mean, I feel sorry. I would apologise to the Irish nation if I had anything to do with
Can
that.
they complain about the
I
result?
think in terms of the games, we always said that those two games on that side of the draw are coin tossers, and it could have gone either way. And I think New Zealand came up with an incredible plan of how to. To go 37 phases in defence at the end. We're used to them playing 37 phases and scoring to win a game at the end, and then they knew their opposition, they knew their enemy, and they knew they couldn't give a penalty away in that situation. They didn't want that 5 metre line out, and then Sam Whitelock.
They had 4 7-point gambles when they kicked to the corner rather than take the points. Hindsight is
I did see that. I did see that this morning that they could have taken the point again. Well, as we said yesterday, cliche. Let the scoreboard take over itself.
369.
369.
Yeah, I was having
yesterday.
that argument with Hoggy. Hoggy was like, England should go to the corner. I'm like, no, World Cups, you take points.
Take the points.
That's the
all
thing,
the
isn't it? Because
time.
it doesn't matter. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, New Zealand, they've been written off. I don't know for what reason, because they're the most winningest team of all time.
Winningest.
They haven't played that well, but they've recently turned it on. We did a GBR and GBR boys stage show. They all came and said they thought New Zealand were going to win the whole World Cup. We've talked about disrespecting New Zealand at your peril. I think on that particular day, anyone could have won. And I just think it's sad recently because Ireland have been on the other side of that. Ireland have been better. But when it comes to that closer game, if you don't take the poison, things happen. It's just very sad because you look at it and just go, Peter O'Mahony, Andy Farrell, the whole coach side couldn't have done any more. They've obviously got a fantastic thing going on over there. They're playing some great rugby. I just, I think what New Zealand did is a lot of their players turned up. Someone like Sam Cane, who probably hasn't featured or been talked about in dispatches that often. He was colossal. His physicality, Arlie Sevilla, man of the match, absolutely smoking people. And because of their individual athletic ability, when New Zealand turn it on and they get a half break, or you saw when Richie Mwanga went through and put Will Jordan away, they have that ability to do that, which is probably slightly different than any other team because, like Fijians as well, maybe the Pacific Islands have that athleticism. It makes things very much difficult, and then the margins become even tighter.
It's still humanised by the fact that Johnny Sexton's son just looks at me. He's still a great.
You're still the best dad. Yeah,
still the best.
That's a magical moment.
There was a lovely moment as well between Joe Schmidt and Lucas Sexton, and who'd have known each other from when Luca was a kid, obviously, as Joe at Leinster, and obviously Ireland as well. There were some really nice touches between two opponents who have obviously got the most extraordinary respect for each other. As far as Ireland are concerned, though, you say goodbye now to Sexton and probably Peter O'Mahony and probably one or two others as well. Absolute legends of that green jersey. Is that now a team that has to sort of go away and grieve and work it through, or come Six Nations, is it all done and dusted? That all the hope and all the emotion of a Rugby World Cup you just get rid of and you start again, or does this take time to work through the system?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it will take time, but I think
hopefully your voice will come back by the time Six Nations starts. I think they've got such a good setup for bringing new players on. I don't think they'll dwell on it for too long. There's the brutality of a Rugby World Cup, and everyone's like, "Well, why are they meeting in the quarterfinals?" Well, it'd have happened next week to someone. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Just go one stage further. You still lose. You still go home depressed. This is slightly rational and based on no facts.
Irrational.
Irrational. Sorry, slightly irrational and based on no facts at all. I just don't know. Like when you look at a World Cup, what an amazing job Andy Farrell's done and the coaching staff and how much they built, I think this is the closest they're ever going to get in the next.
Wow.
I just think in the next sort of cycle, I just don't see, because where's the magic going to come from to push them over? If you lose Johnny Sexton, he's the heart, but yes, he'll probably go into the coaching setup.
Yes.
I think he'll immediately do that. Are there enough X Factor players to kick on? Because that was a magical group of people that you can rebuild, and you've got to rebuild. Like Andy Farrell's, number one coach. They've got to keep going. You've got to play it for 6 days. You have no choice but to pick yourself up and dust yourself down. For some of those players, the sad reality is most of them will move on. Johnny Sexton, that will be the last experience he ever has. You can't move on. You can move on and celebrate your amazing career, obviously, like he should do, but that's the last chance he's ever going to have. Most of those players, especially young guys, will have to turn up for the Six Nations and don't get another chance. I just wonder, on paper, was this the moment?
If you can't make a semi-final with the greatest team that they've ever had,
that's what I mean.
When can you?
And I don't know where the next solution will come from.
The good thing is, through all of it, is no one had a bad game. It wasn't.
No.
That side of the draw. There were two amazing games, and unfortunately, the nature of sport, someone had to lose.
Yeah,
and I know it's quite philosophical, and they've got to just go back and look at that. And
I just wonder when you you rebuild after a Super Bowl or whatever it is. You look at it and you start recruiting and doing that. Obviously, it's international rugby. You've got a pool of players. You can't magic people up. Like if you look at France, when we come on to that they have got so much more youth in their side and so many young players and so many different options that you would think that this lesson, in 4 years' time, they could go and win it. I can see that. I just won with Ireland. Everything was peaking at the right moment. I might be talking utter shit, which I often do. I just don't know where I can see where Andy Farrell draws the extra inches from, because the rest of those boys will learn, but you're taking out some incredible players, and are the next cabs off the rank? I don't know enough about Irish rugby to tell you, but I would say, just casting a little bit of a black cloud over it, I think this was their moment in time. And it came down to a game of inches, which on any other day they could have won.
Yeah. Interestingly, Gregor Townsend has said that he thinks Ireland will continue to dominate the world stage. And certainly their schools, the provincial setup is just extraordinary. There is a lot of talent, but it's going to take a bit of time to sharpen it into the outfit that we have seen. Like
I said, maybe I'm completely flawed. Maybe there's a number 10 hiding in the wings and another back row replacement, and some of these guys will kick on, and I might be talking rubbish. Which
a sort of an acknowledgement of Sexton and O'Mahony. I mean, Sexton goes off raging, which is how he's played his entire career.
but I
gutted
think that's-
obviously
yeah.
for him, but when the
Yeah.
dust
Put your
settles-
heart and soul into something, you can be angry. You know, he'll look back at it and he'll.
I think knowing him as I do a little bit, and you see the way he conducts himself, the way he sets his standards. Look, he's going to go on having a fantastic career coaching. He's had an unbelievable moment. I just hope, because it took me a long while, and I haven't achieved nearly 1% of the things that he's done, to appreciate just how good he was, just how good the journey was. And I think what's nice is, even though it ended badly, is this. It seems that this team, especially over the last year and a half, 2 years, has been so magical with Andy Farrell that I think, to finish enjoying what you do, I think is really important. Peter Oman is saying that we're not, he's not. We hasn't said he's going to retire, but again, I don't think he's not going to make it to the next World Cup. Yeah. I think all of them deserve to be celebrated, and I hope as the dust settles, they just take a moment and go, wow. And I think Johnny Sexton, to be fair, is the greatest, the GOAT of Irish rugby. I think if he'd won the World Cup, it would have been unchallenged. I think people will still comment about other people, but to do what he's done to lead the team and to do it at his age, at his heartbeat, some of the injuries and bits and pieces he's had, he's an incredible man, incredible father, and I think his legacy will last. At least he's got a legacy.
Yeah.
I've just got a load
wouldn't that be a nice thing?
I've just got a load of mess behind me.
Well done, Johnny Sexton. Well done, Peter O'Mahony. You have certainly done your country proud. But to similar levels of heartbreak, really, it was extraordinary in the bar in which we watched France, South Africa. It just emptied, certainly. But when I went out onto the street, just morose French people everywhere. Have they missed a trick? Does it feel like, it's a sort of similar question, really. Does it feel like France have missed a trick? Was it there for the taking? Have they themselves to blame, or do they just have to say,
I feel
Fox
that
for better?
I was more emotional about that game than I was the English game, because I just so wanted France to get where they deserved to go and deserved to be, and I believe they deserved. They didn't, but they deserved to win that game. They were the better team by an absolute country mile.
The stats are mental when some of the bits you looked up. The tackles missed.
Yeah, I mean, South Africa missed 43 tackles. They had to make 153. They lost on every stat across the board, and they had 3 snapshots from box kick not dealt with properly. They score and they walk in, and they didn't create anything. Yet that is what South Africa do at World Cups. Talk about it, go back to 2019, where I was like, it would be a disgrace if South Africa won this World Cup, and they won it. And,
But I think also, because their fans are so vocal and sort of single-minded in regard to the team. Rassie Erasmus is kind of obviously always pulling the strings and sort of...
Ryan at 9, when France had spent all week preparing for FAF, was just sort of one of those typically Rassie kind of... Yeah. Magic hands.
I just think from the light system to the comments and social media to everything else, he's sort of ingrained in the DNA of that. And I think you just got to give South Africa credit, because they play a certain brand of rugby and they just are ruthless at it. And I think we tried to sort of write them off a little bit at times, and you can never ever write them. I wouldn't be surprised they don't go on and win the bloody thing.
This is semi-quarter final rugby, in the fact that if it's not a charge down kick and he knocks that kick over. You talk about
Colby.
You talk about millimeters or inches, but if you go through everything, France had more meters, defenders beaten. France beat 43 defenders compared to 12. Clean breaks 13-6. Gain line carries 82-36. Double the passes, 13 offloads to 2. But South Africa win the points that make difference. 8 turnovers to 5.
It is that cliche. Honestly, it is. Everyone says let the scoreboard take care of itself. It is so true. It's just that
France's scrum, 56% on their own ball. Just bits and pieces. But they still should have won that game. That first 20 minutes was
unreal.
Like breathless.
Yeah.
It could have been 14-0. Then suddenly it's 7-all. Was that a knock on from Elsabeth? Was it?
Well, you tell me.
Well, no, I thought O'Keefe actually wasn't very good at that game. I said that to you numerous times.
Antoine actually said afterwards, I'm not sure the refereeing was up to the level of what was at stake, which isn't that classy.
But it's
frustration.
I felt it with him. And irony is, most Safa fans always moan about a ref, and the first thing I put on the Smutby group was, good to see you've paid him off this time. But you don't ever want to be going back and saying it's a referee's fault. They still had their opportunities to win. I still thought they would win. But But it goes back to what we said. It'd be a coin toss all along.
I wonder now, though, see, the converse point to the Irish, where I asked where the stars are going to come from.
Yeah,
on. France have the stars.
Yeah.
Can they keep shit together? Because they've obviously they've had things done really well. They're completely shrugged off that tag of the old emotional French, no consistency. You know, they've been brilliantly consistent. Got a great coaching staff. But in my experience with French teams, if things don't quite go well, if there are any recriminations, you know, there's a lot of sort of. A lot of teams I got involved with, a lot of players think they're politicians, the coach think they're politicians, everyone gets up and grandstands, if they can keep together, keep Sean, keep everything together, get it sorted, see this is just a bump in the road, the fans stay behind them, the media don't go and start pulling them apart, this will kick on and be great. But it has all the potential of, you know, headlines that keep, you know, someone moving out, coaches falling apart, them trying to drastically change things, players. I'm not saying it will do.
Not a lot of keep calm and carry on.
That's what I mean.
But I thought if you then look at the body language of the players after and what Galtier did and how many, you know, just going around, he hugged all of them.
Yeah. And
so I think they've got a tight unit. You know, Dan Carter and Richie McCaw always talk about that loss in 07.
Yeah. Quarterfinal.
And what it did to them as a team. No, I don't think they're that far off. That Malvaca, the hooker,
unreal,
was absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
So I'm just gutted for them. I'm gutted for the country because I think they've just put on one hell of a show. The atmosphere in stadiums has just been off the chain.
I mean, obviously, when you look at playing, they've got Ntamak, Willemse, those guys weren't even involved. They have such a plethora of riches to play.
But adverts on every TV, every billboard, it's all about.
And they've got a hero in Dupont. You know, I think that they. Well, they'll be disappointed. They are in the driving seat, I think, to go on and challenge and do really, really big things in the next 4 years. I see them, you know, I see them dominating that side. If they can keep them together and keep learning, I think it's very disappointing now because it was their own World Cup, but I think Ireland would ultimately more agree because I think this was their moment, whereas I think France have lots more moments to come.
Interesting. France are out of their party. The job of the French is now to make sure the party doesn't go out in France over the next couple of weeks.
What the good thing is now that all those home nations can really focus their vocal support into the Red Rose.
You reckon? Let's put up a fan poll.
Yeah.
Everyone outside of England, how much would you like to see those in white? I mean, just...
So basically, there was a guy on the street last night, 4:30 a.m. He's had a few too many beers. And he goes to me, can I have a photo? And he was Welsh. And I said, yeah, of course you can have a photo, but you have to take a picture next week, semi-final week, in an England jersey supporting England. He went, I don't want the photo. It is off.
Oh, no.
And then as he walked, he goes, really, you won't take a photo? I was like, will you wear an England jersey? He was like, no. I was like, well, no.
I love that. Ruthless. He's obviously had a few sherbets because he's normally a man of the people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something I'd say.
Yeah.
We've
spent too long with you, unfortunately.
Literally, there were a couple of times last night where I was like, oh my God, I've spent too long with Hask.
It was amazing. It was amazing, though, when we walked into the stadium, how many how many other nations were supporting Fiji. Yeah. We really are hated. Like, I know we know this because of 700 years of empire building. I know we used to run the world. And what really pissed people off, small, tiny island, just, you know, the East India Club was essentially just pirates, just raided the whole world, run the whole fucking show, handed it back, and didn't work out particularly well for some people.
But apart from that, what else have we done?
But apart from that, it's about time to get over it now.
Well, of course, the viaduct. Clean water and sunset. Yeah, well, look.
Even Hoggy yesterday, you know, he's like, you know, probably, you know, the English, it's fucking arrogant. English arrogance. I was like, you're just coming out of fucking cliches, mate. When Eddie Jones came and took over, he was like, mate, you lot of fucking, you know, you're always apologetic. You're always being fucking shameful, man. Admit you're English. You're supposed to be arrogant English. Be fucking arrogant. So we're all humble. We can't even wear St. George's flag.
Sorry, say that again, just once more.
No, I'm not humble.
We're all humble.
I'm not humble. I was talking about the royal way. I'm definitely not. I'm amazing. But the point is that if you wear a St. George's flag, right, you're immediately the leader of the BNP. Do you know what I mean? You're like, get them foreigners, get them out of the country, right? So you can't even be nationalistic. You've got the fucking people turn out with tulips. You've got the Irish St. Patrick's Day. You've got the, you know, everyone's. We can't be. We have to apologise for everything. Yeah. So we can't even own our own identity because we offend anyone. So I think you need to forgive us, right? As a country, we made some mistakes in the past. We're back on it. We're not arrogant. We're actually quite shameful and embarrassed about the past. We don't celebrate it. Please give us a bit of support. We need your help.
Hask's rant of the week.
Actually, the original supporters hate us. We've got the best point scorer that England's ever had, and they fucking don't like him. So we need a new set of fans that actually like this team that are going to support it, if you can help that.
Hask's Rant of the Week, brought to you by, we haven't currently got a sponsor for that, but if anyone
By
wants
Frey
to get
Bentos
involved,
Pies.
by Frey Bentos Pies. Welcome to you. Lovely to have you on board. Just a quick note from our friends at NordVPN, who are offering Good Bad Rugby listeners an exclusive deal. If you're heading across the channel for the remainder of the Rugby World Cup and you want to be able to watch all of your favourite TV shows and sport back home, or anywhere in the world for that matter, with NordVPN, you can switch your virtual location to a country which is showing the event. It's been incredibly useful for us as we've travelled around, watching the games with English commentary back home, isn't it? We've used it.
I use it all the time.
games.
Like, I travel this summer 12 times DJing. I need to come up with, to keep up with the rugby, watching it abroad. When we travel, keep up with TV series when I'm, in different countries because I don't really watch a lot of TV, but when
It's
I do,
a very handy tool.
it is
to
because
have
I
in your
travel alone,
pocket.
a lot on my own as well. I end up sitting in restaurants on my own. I like to stream and watch, TV.
Oh,
I know it's
I'll
quite
come
sad.
with you.
It's quite
Yeah, that's why NordVPN is like a comforting friend.
We found out last night he quite likes his own.
He loves
time.
his own company.
Yeah.
Yeah, he laughs at his own gags. You'll even get a discount on your plan and an extra 4 months for free. And there's no risk as well with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/goodbadrugby. The links are also in the episode description box. Tuck in if you want to. A word on Wales, because we are talking about three quarterfinals in which it was a flick of a coin, and Ireland and France will feel forever that they could have and should have won it. Wales, on the other hand, sort of will feel they should have won it, but also might well feel that they blew it. Is that
Yes.
a fair kind of reflection on their
It's one
10-0
move
up,
away, isn't it?
21 minutes? North's pass to Josh Adams, who drops it. There's a missed penalty at 29 minutes from
That
Dan
last
Berger.
Lewis Reed's Samet attempt, if he'd actually gone back inside
Yeah.
or passed it earlier, they,
Yeah. Look,
Well, again,
if-
it's all inches, but I'm not
yeah,
blaming
if you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, as soon as Dyer goes through, he had two on his outside. He should have arced out. But when I looked at it, I understand why he's done what he's done because he's seen the 9 tracking down the middle. I think it was Thomas Williams that was tracking him.
Yeah.
But then out of nowhere, someone was chased back really well and got on his eye line, and he sort of missed it. But yeah, what a tackle by Maroney to stop. You would back Zamet Smith from the Zamet Smith.
That was that's an unbelievable tackle as well to do that legally, to hit him in a dive and pull him. That was mega because he's got that athleticism to score it from there. I mean, I don't know how that's 9 times out of 10 he doesn't stop that.
No.
If we're throwing out then proper bouquets from this weekend and we were going to do a continental showstopper of the week, would that tackle be it?
Yeah.
Matthias Maroney on Lewis Rees Summit?
Yeah.
Sam Whitelock's turnover?
Yeah, Sam Whitelock's turnover.
Well, I mean, Sam White, the fact he's got like 800 caps and he's like,
he's 85
he's
years
85
old.
years
Yeah,
old.
still
He
playing.
plays in the hardest position ever. Second row is just the pits. Like it's
Ebenet
awful.
Sveth's try? Colby's charge down conversion?
Well,
Some big moments.
quite a few of these have won games.
Yeah.
Haven't they? He could go for something very, very. Rugby's the winner, and the Argentinian fans and what they bring to
They are mega.
in difference.
I tell you what they brought actually with Argentine fans. We talked about, especially England fans. We've got obviously Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, which optionally on loop, but some people don't feel comfortable to sing anymore. And they sort of got England, and then you got sit down if anyone walks past you. That's
There's
all
a
you've
lot of
got.
sit down.
Whereas
It was
Argentina,
very
when they brought that football-esque vibe, but with none of the violence, they brought that intensity, that buzz, and I think that's what games should be because you want to create the culture, and that's why football's so addictive because people go there, but you don't want it to spill into dropping the C-bomb every 5 minutes and fighting, but you do want that rivalry, and I think rugby, if they could keep harnessing that and getting those South American teams in there, like Argentina, they were pioneers of that, and I think that's what's been so special about it because the games that first weekend, I was like, it's getting a little bit spicy out here. Bar getting a few flares out, which would have really taken it up to Lazio vibes. It was a great moment. So I think you're right, but I think we've got to give it to someone though. Maybe I'd read that tackle on Lewis Rees.
Matthias Maroney on Summit?
Matthias Maroney.
It was a good tackle, yeah.
Because also if they score that, then he doesn't get the intercept on the next. Because I mean, history would have maybe changed.
14 points away.
Yeah.
Matthias Maroney is our continental showstopper moment of the week. I'm sure you'll have your own. With some incredible individual performances out there. Where are Wales off the back of this? They came in sort of being sort of packaged up by Gatland to make the most of what he had. Are they back? Have they exceeded expectation? Do they go back and sort of back into the crisis land of Welsh rugby?
I don't know. It's definitely not crisis. I think what
Well, I
they
suppose
have.
with all the regions
The
and the money and that
landscape
sort of, the landscape over there is not as healthy as it has been.
They've been waiting for players to be able to move on. And obviously, Gats had that tough decision to make before the World Cup to get rid of Alan of Wales, Lydiot, Tipperick. And he needed to find a group of players. Then Jack Morgan, I think, has been an actual diamond that they found, and they've put him as captain, and they've got other vice captains that have stepped up when needs to be.
I think in Jack Morgan, they've now got a leader.
Yeah,
for the next number of years, if he can stay fit.
And a leader,
very good at finding a skipper like that.
A leader who does it on the field as well. It's not just because he's quite quiet off it, and he's not a natural leader in terms of speaking vibes from everyone we've talked to, but. He's fast and he's such a good player. You can follow that. You can get behind it. Look, I think they've got still got a few areas that they need to work on. But yeah, he's galvanised that, and I think they'll take confidence going forward. I think Welsh fans weren't sure where they were going to go through this tournament, and then they've sort of. That's the problem when you play well, have big wins, put 40 on Australia. Yeah. Your expectation levels just by the nature of the wins, goes up here, whereas England has sort of floated like that because the performances haven't been that great. Yes, they're 4-0, but I went there yesterday going, well, we could win, we could also lose. Yeah. Whereas, it's ramped up for Wales, and then unfortunately it's
interesting for Gatland as well, because his World Cup legacy, he probably, when obviously Sam Warburton got red card, it was probably the closest they got to kicking on, getting into a final. I think, do
they go home feeling that they haven't fired all the shots in a quarterfinal? Whereas Ireland and France will say we threw everything at it.
Yeah, I think they will do, but I think they were a team in transition. And I think, honest if Gatland was probably honest about where they were, where they started, in those warm-up games and the kind of performance that we were seeing and the players, it wasn't great. I think they're growing into a team. I think maybe if they keep it together and he wants to keep the job. Under Jack Morgan, you've got that ability. I think they were never going to win it, and I think that they probably did better than people thought it was. So I think they could be pleased, but I think they're still in a massive transition period, and I wonder what will happen. I just meant as a personal side for Gats because he's never quite got that one. He's won everything else, but hasn't quite got that World Cup that scalp. We
paid credit to Johnny Sexton, who is a retiring 10. Dan Bigger as well came off to a standing ovation. There was quite a funny tweet going around saying referees falling by the wayside this weekend. Jaco Paper subbed off in Wales, Argentina. Farewell Johnny Sexton, referee of Ireland. Farewell Dan Bigger, who's had a whistle for 10 years for Wales. But just
Owen Farrell's the only one keeping it going.
Still carrying it on. Just a reflection on Bigger and how much he has given to that red jersey.
Yeah, again, he's had someone who has had, like Faz has had to fight some battles and people doubting who he is, and you just don't play at the top level sport for that long when you're not a great player.
112 caps.
It is interesting. You're right about it because he's had that stuff where actually Welsh probably haven't been very nice to him and didn't like him and didn't embrace him. I think when he left Wales and went to Northampton and was playing some good rugby for Northampton, went back into that patch a couple of years ago, they actually started to get on board with him. I think he was kind of. I remember he said we actually interviewed him, didn't we? Or I went down there to interview him myself. I can't remember who it was with. I think it was with us. And he basically said, "Look, it's been a bit of a sea change. I got myself out the petri dish of Wales, and I've started to notice, and it's actually quite uncomfortable that people are being so nice and talking me up." So I think he has had that resurgence, and actually, as Tin says, deserves it because he's always, he's very much like Johnny Sexton.
But it's the same thing. He's like Faz. He's an ultimate competitor. Yeah. He just wants to compete, and he'll go to the level or the borderline of making that uncomfortable for someone because that's where he needs to be. It's where he needs to operate. You talk about Faz. He lives on that line. Sometimes he'll go north of it. Sometimes he'll manage to stay south of it. But it's because of his competitive nature that makes him sit on that side where people view it from two sides of the fence. And look, he's 112 caps. For a country that are passionate about rugby, he's he should always be happy with.
Good on you, Dan.
Yeah, I love me. He's such a boy.
I tell you what, Wales obviously bow out, and it's disappointing for all those in red. Argentina and their fans move up to Paris, and we have followed the Argentinian fans with real enthusiasm because they've just brought so much vibrancy and colour. And what that does do is lead us on to our Tour Tales this week, brought to you by City Index, the global provider of spread betting and CFD trading. And a little earlier, talking of fans having an incredible World Cup, I caught up with two groups of UK rugby fans who hadn't met before this weekend, but are now bonded for life. Well, Tour Tales is all about the stories in the stands. It's all about the stories up and down France. And this week, we've got a story for you that's all about getting to France. We've got Ed and Matthew alongside. It has been an odyssey. Tell us.
Well, we flew to Frankfurt. You flew from Stansted?
No, we flew from Bristol.
That's right.
We had a 4-hour layover, so it was already a bit of a mission of a journey anyway. When we landed, obviously there were some issues with flights this weekend. So we were a bit nervous, a bit panicky, but our flight wasn't cancelled at that point. So we thought, we'll tuck into a few beers. And then half an hour before we're due to fly, we get told it's cancelled. So that's where we met Ed.
Yeah, I was getting my phone out to put it through security, looked at it, your flight's cancelled. I was like, the flight that I'm going through security now. So, yeah, well, we just got in the queue, didn't we, to, with Lufthansa to try and square it all away. And when we got to the front, they couldn't square it away. And we were turning around to these guys who were behind us in the queue, filling them in on where it was going. Great news, lads, we're on a flight to Nice. Way tomorrow. And you're on standby. Right. So we thought, actually, we'll take matters into our own hands, hire a car.
Good news is it's only 1,000 kilometres from Frankfurt to Marseille.
And thankfully, their flight was later into Frankfurt, so they hadn't had as many beers as us, so we jumped in the car with them.
Unbelievable.
And any beers.
That's very good.
Yes,
Drive
sorry,
responsibly.
Yeah.
And so how many of you, what's the demographic? 2 Englishmen, 3 Welsh? Or what?
One Englishman,
One
4
Englishman
Welsh.
and 4 Welsh.
And actually, this Welshman next to me was the one sat in the front. So he was Mr. DJ. He was playing James Haskell, and it was a homage to the nonsense that is Welsh musical culture. It was,
we went through the entire range. We had Stereophonics, we had Catatonia. We even went to Goldie Looking Chain at one point.
Unreal.
apparently
Tom
guns don't kill
Of
people,
course.
rappers do.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
believe
Believe
that.
that.
My God,
We obviously had a bit of Tom. It's really weird holding this microphone and not actually singing into it.
Okay, good. Honest,
but,
I'm not sure our listeners can take that right
no,
here, right now.
absolutely,
And good entente cordiale between Wales and England. Did we put the world to rights, or did we kind of keep it?
Yeah, just told a lot of
ourselves.
stories, didn't we? Told a lot of stories, sang a lot of songs.
We were quite, it does do a lot of mind tricks, in a car for that long.
Yeah.
We were celebrating every time an hour came down on the sat nav. Ooh, hey!
There you go.
You kind of lost your mind a little bit, but it was fabulous. And we got new best friends for life now.
That is
Yeah, and I
unreal.
got institutionalised by the end. I actually didn't want to get out the car. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
shocking.
yeah.
And
It was sort of
luckily,
Stockholm syndrome, wasn't it?
exactly.
I tell you what, luckily they gave us a Volkswagen Passat. The original car was a Toyota Aygo, and nothing against the people of Toyota, but even they would argue it's not the vehicle to take 5 fully grown men and all their farts.
Especially when one of them's
1,004
6'2" and 17 stone on a good day, like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. Pre-weekend.
Pre-weekend.
And did you go to the game together?
We met after
We
the
met
game.
after
didn't
the
we?
game, yeah. We had-
Okay, got you.
We both, all of us had tickets to both
Yes,
games, didn't we?
yeah.
Yeah, and that
And the big question is, did you cheer for Wales against Argentina?
Do you know, I did actually. I went in my line shot. I thought that was a nice touch.
Good.
Little Welsh fleur.
Yeah.
It was red. So yeah, that was disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But especially for these, he was even saying, he said, they need to get us in the changing rooms to tell them what we've been
story,
through to get it. Yeah.
To get there.
That's what it means to
Loving
us.
The
Yeah,
kicker
yeah.
to that, though, is did you cheer for England against Fiji?
I knew you were going to ask me
Yeah.
this question.
How
No
much?
comment.
No.
No comment, Your Honour.
You're wearing a Fijian shirt, which I'm imagining therefore tells its own story.
Yes, it was a fantastic game of rugby.
Yeah.
And the side who scored the most points won.
Right, good. Saying a lot without saying anything. So I'm gonna rephrase this for you just to see how good a job you've done, Ed, in terms of bringing the two closer together. England against South Africa in semi-final this weekend. You are cheering for
Rugby.
right.
Rugby will be the winner.
I think you need to get back into your Toyota Aygo, or whatever it was you came down in. You've got a bit of work to do, Ed, to square the circle.
It's classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's England against everyone.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
And always
part
will
of
be.
what we are and what we do, though, isn't it? That's why we bloody love it.
Okay, good on you. Is this going to continue? Is this a bromance for the new
absolutely.
ages? Will you be going down to Cardiff to watch the Six Nations game?
The WhatsApp group's set up.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Yeah, we are.
We're
Yeah, yeah.
primed. We've been sharing videos and stories from the weekend with each other as well.
Brilliant.
I'm sure this will be one of them.
Rugby at its very best.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Fellas, well done. Are you actually flying back, or are you
Oh,
giving a horse
well,
and cut?
I hope I'm flying
You're
back.
okay.
I intend to fly back in the same way I intended to fly here.
Yeah, and actually our flight, interestingly, we're going via Zurich, so we're having a bit of a European tour.
Same, yeah, we're going by Munich.
So we might be hiring a car later, who knows?
Good on you.
Maybe
We'll
we'll
let
speak
you
to you
know if
next
we
week.
do.
Squeeze up. We're putting three good bad rugby boys in as well. Listen, well done, Ed.
No,
Great
thanks
to
for
hear
having
your
us.
story. Thank you, Matthew, as well.
Thank you
Nice to
very
meet
much.
All the
Thank you.
best. Good on
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
That is your tour tale for this week. Thank you to City Index, who offers spread betting and CFD trading across thousands of markets. Into next weekend. And if we had 4 quarterfinals, which all felt like the flick of a coin and the roll of a dice, it would probably be fair to say we have got 2 semi-finals with standout, clear, front-running favourites. Which begs the question, let's start with England first of all. How do England find something from an 18 months in which they have been
Get the
battered
same
at
chef
home by
that cooked
France.
the New Zealand food,
Susie,
that
yeah.
food in
Susie.
Wonder if she's available.
Susie,
Right.
yeah.
Get
Susie, if
Susie
you're
from
listening-
1995.
Coming out of retirement.
Susie, if you're listening, we've got a little job for
Susie,
you.
we've got a little curry. The boys want a lovely curry the
Have
night
a
before.
funky escargot into the South African salad.
That's the only way.
How have you ever gone into a game in which, you of course you believe and you work bloody hard, but the odds are piled against you? And how do you find that? Find a way?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
rugby at the moment isn't seeing a lot of upsets. Some very competitive games,
But
but
Portugal.
what?
Come on, Portugal.
Come on, Portugal. Okay, but at the sharper end potentially. You're not. We
Yeah.
haven't seen a 2007 where England beat Australia with no hope, France take out New Zealand, etc.
Look, I think as the only unbeaten team in this World Cup.
Hello, let's enjoy that for the 24 hours that we got it.
6 days, yeah.
Yeah.
6 days. We've got 6 days to literally go at every Welsh fan every Irish fan,
And then take
every
cover when it
Scottish
comes
fan.
back.
I don't think we're going to be then getting them to support us, but get after them.
Yeah.
Because they'd get after you when they beat you, they let you know. No, look, it's the one biggest factor of this is now you're in semi-final rugby. What that does to the pressure levels and how much that raises and how that affects people's performances. You say, unfortunately, with South Africa and New Zealand, they've been there, they've done it, they've got the T-shirt, but it's knockout rugby. It's the only time you can believe because you have to. It's not like playing a autumn series or a summer series where you're going down there. You might not, you're not in form. There's only one game, so it only takes 80 minutes, and it takes a few decisions. We look at the games that we've just witnessed. A couple of decisions go a different way. The other team wins.
But are England going to be close enough, do you think?
I think
comes down to a
it's
decision?
actually, we've joked and we haven't really, we always sort of play around and try to do it with tongue in cheek. I think it's very disrespectful to this England side not to give them a chance. I think there are some unbelievable players, some fantastic coaches, some guys who work very hard, and actually they've got on with their business. Maybe it hasn't been the most attractive rugby, but it doesn't really matter. And I think, we're now in a semi-final. What's gone before is irrelevant. I think with a set of players who have won in clutch games. Bear in mind, you said there's 12 players who played in the final are in that squad. You got
They
Heineken.
didn't win that game.
You've got Heineken Cup winners. You've got
Heineken
Six
Cup-
Nations
No, but what I mean
winners,
is you've got guys with
Grand Slam
experience.
winners.
You've got experience of pressure who've had that taste, that know how to see that, and actually do England have a game plan that could tick away points and strangle a team.
369.
369. Yes, they do, and I think they do, and that's the difference.
Or as Hask said yesterday, 368.
368.
I'm not sure how you get from 6 to 8, Hask.
5, 7, 4, 2, 1.
Wake you back in the
Yeah,
room.
you cannot get to 8. Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. But I think for me that yes, they can be competitive. I think they've got to disrupt South Africa. They've obviously got to match the physicality. I think they've got to sort out some of that defensive stuff. 34 tackles they missed, right, and they've got to sort that out against Africa because you'll be in a world of pain if they can write that, keep that physicality.
But on the same thing, South Africa missed 43 tackles.
Both won.
That's the nature of pressure D. But I think what they've got to do is they'll go a bit siege mentality probably, but it comes down to their intent. They've got to leave everything out on the field. Is the biggest thing is that, and that's all I want as a fan, is to see them leave the kitchen sink, everything out there, and go at them with an intent to play. I don't want them to just fizzle out slowly by trying to not make mistakes or whatever. I think the best thing about this England team is because no one's talking about them, they can do it however they want. And I thought it was better yesterday. They need to build on that, and if they can, go get them.
It'll be interesting as well. I think if they played the way they did in that first half of patches and be physical and direct, I think that's the way. Ball carriers getting over that gain line. I think we obviously, like I said, the sport, take care of the scoreboard. What will be interesting is the off-field stuff. Is you've got obviously Borthers is very focused on the job in hand. Will Rassie Erasmus try to add a sideshow? Will there be some sniping? Will there be some nonsense? Will he, will he just let the players get on with it? I don't know. That's what's going to be. That's what's going to unfold. I just wonder. England can quietly get on with their business, and I hope everyone talks up South Africa. And then there's an opportunity for England to do it, because I would always back England. I think on paper and where they are and the way they've played, you would have your doubts. But I think it's disrespectful to those lads to think that they don't have something up their sleeve. And I think they've got one big game in them, and I think they could do it.
I love that. Hask stoking the fires of belief. 2019, does that have any impact, any carryover?
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Do you use it?
Yeah,
How
of
do you
course you
use
do. I think so. You go back and look at the fact. South Africa had their one game. Why can't we have our one game in this semi-final?
That is true, actually. It's a great point. He makes very good points, Mike. Is that They did. That's all they get. But they didn't play any decent rugby until they got to that last game.
And cue South African fans
Oh, go
writing
away.
in, emailing.
But they won it. They won.
Yeah, they did.
They're
I'm not arguing.
they're the
They get
leaders.
very
They've
upset
won.
about the fact that you dissed down everything they did in 2019 prior to the final.
Well, no, but I thought they were fantastic in the
I'm
final. They
just marking
absolutely
the
pulled our
card.
pants down.
I unfortunately haven't got the memory of the worst semi-final out of my head yet.
Yeah, that's
against,
true. That was a
against Wales.
desperate state of affairs.
Wales had no players left. There was people running around. They still only just managed to beat them.
Vamos los Pumas. They've been the All Blacks twice in the last 3 years, 2020 and 2022.
Michael Checker, can he
Checker.
can he pull the strings to put something together?
Passion play.
I think that's the thing for Argentina and England is just being smart and coming up with some creative ways of breaking the norm. We talked about New Zealand not flying up. They changed their defensive setups to just mess around with what Ireland have planned for, because Joe Smith understands that they plan better than any other team. So throw some curveballs at them. And I think England need to do that as well. Do something that you're not expected to do. Work on it in the week, find some weaknesses, and then get after it.
I tell you what, if you look at the state of world rugby as you talked about, New Zealand beat South Africa beat New Zealand, Argentina beat New Zealand, and England have beaten South Africa before in that
2021.
So the point is that these things, it's all possible.
Yeah.
That, I just think, because I think New Zealand for me, I would say with the team to beat just on who are probably
History.
Yeah, history. I think, but South Africa. This is the rugby that they thrive on. So I don't know, but I think everyone could beat anyone, and I think that's what should be exciting. And I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as we first thought, because we were talking about people getting pumped in the semi-finals. I just don't think we'll see that.
It's
I might
pressure.
be wrong, what do I know?
I think once you get to a semi-final, everyone is thinking about the fact that it's a semi-final. So whether you like it or not, squeaky bum time starts from the first whistle. Or as we found out yesterday when you walked.
All right, that's a story for another day. It's going to be an epic weekend. It is going to be an epic weekend. It's worth reminding you, New Zealand and South Africa have won 6 of the last 9. Everybody will be highlighting their names. I'm doing this mainly to bring them out of the shadows in the hope that gets into the psyche, certainly of the All Blacks, who have been quite happy backstage until now. And South Africa, obviously, defending champions. Let's laud them up. Vamos los Pumas. And good luck to England. That is it for this week. A quick roundup just before we go to let you know that our tour is happening on the Tuesday after the World Cup. Get your tickets at cuffandtaylor.com. Plenty of material from the last few weeks or so. I think we have to dry ourselves out.
Now
it's going to ramp up.
Now we head to Paris and base up.
We're centralised in Paris.
Yes.
The city of love.
You guys won't see me again because all my friends are up there. And
Great. Well,
I'll be you, me, Fufa. We'll take on the
we're
south.
going to have a little back into the sidecar.
Take one of them little special leather room places. You put in a little collar.
Super, just like the school days. Lock-in this week is a thoroughly depressing show on the state of the GBR bank account. So if you fancy supporting us via that, please do subscribe, like, share and tuck in. We have been The Good, The Bad and The Rugby this week in partnership with our very good friends at Continental Tyres. The Good, The Bad and The Rugby is a folding pocket production, and this episode was produced by Tom Edwards. See you in Paris.
What's the opposite of humble? Haskell. Get Haskell. This is my moment.